my name's Beth. I'm from a charity called National Energy Action. I'm going to give you an overview of energy saving within the home and help that is available to do so. There's a lot of information to take on, but just so that you know, there'll be time for questions at the end. And my final slide has got the all-important phone number on it. So if you need to remember one thing, it's on the final slide, and it's a telephone number where you can get all of the information that I'm going to talk to you about today. So if we can go on to the next slide, Ellie. As Ellie said, I'm from National Energy Action. We are a national fuel poverty charity. We're currently in our 40th year, and we're working to ensure that everybody can live in a home that is warm and comfortable and affordable to heat. We want to make sure that everybody can benefit from keeping warm and healthy without getting into debt or being worried or anxious about high fuel bills. And paying for gas and electricity and the oil to keep our homes warm. We have lots of different activities. We're involved within trying to influence government policy and campaigning. We have a research team who look into lots of studies and also assess all of our practical projects. We have a training team who train lots of frontline workers and volunteers so that we can continue to cascade the information and try and reach as many people as possible. And we also have a range of practical projects. The one that I will tell you about at the end is our Warm and Safe Homes Advice Service, where you can get all of the information that I'm going to tell you today. We also work on the smart, I particularly work on the smart meter programme, which is why Christina, who you've met before, has invited us along today. So Christina will be ready to answer any of your smart meter specific questions as well. So if we're going to look first at the general kind of no cost and low cost energy savers, things that we can do in our home to try and reduce our fuel bills and keep warm. So number one at the top there is get energy advice. The telephone number that I'll give you at the end is our telephone number to our national advice service. And the reason I say that is we are a free and impartial service, and we can give you information on all of the things that I'm going to cover today. By getting energy advice, you can see how you can reduce your energy usage within your home, and also achieve some of these other no cost, low cost things that you can do as well. There's lots of free or low cost insulation and heating schemes that might be available, and it's really, really important. The best way to stay warm is to keep the heat that you are already producing in your home, to keep it within your home and not let it escape. So by getting insulation or heating systems for free, that will really improve the warmth within your home. If you control your heating by using your programmer or your thermostat to try and keep the heating between 18 and 21 degrees, you won't be using any excess heat. And a top tip, we always find people have got very high fuel bills because they might still have their immersion heater on all the time. Your immersion heater, depending on the size of the tank, you may only need to have it on for a couple of hours a day. It's a big myth that people need to leave it on 24 hours a day. But if you have that switch on all the time, you're paying electricity to heat your water up for that amount of time. When actually, if it's in an insulated tank, you might just need it on for a couple of hours. So by making sure you've turned that off and controlling your heating as best you can try and save some energy on your fuel bills. If you switch off the lights, that you don't need, you can save £14 a year, and turning off your standby can save you around £30 a year, just by remembering to turn off these appliances and not leaving them on standby mode. These tips are all about adjusting our behaviour, and even though the energy savings themselves might be quite small, when they're put together, they do really add up into significant savings. If you've got any appliances that have got economy settings on, for example, on your washing machine or your dishwasher, consider using these, because they are specifically designed to reduce your energy use and your bills. Make sure that you defrost your freezers. It's a tricky job, but worthwhile doing, because then they will run more efficiently. And very simple tips, things that you probably all do already, particularly as it's got colder: close curtains as soon as it's dusk, and tuck them in. If you've got a radiator by the window, tuck them in behind there so that the heat is in the room. Oh, pardon?
Got it on the phone.
Oh.
Right.
Sorry, I can't see anyone's faces, so if there are any questions, then please do say.
Sure, tea. I'll just get mine, all right?
Apologies for that. I'm just continuing screen sharing, Beth. Over to you.
Okay, no, that's fine, but I can't see faces, so if there are any questions, then please do ask.
Brilliant.
If you've got any radiators, make sure that they're not blocked in or covered, and that will allow all the heat to come into the room as well. One of my favourite ones, instead of using the oven, you can consider using a microwave, or one of my favourite things to do is the slow cooker. Very low cost in cooking, and also extremely convenient with to fit into your lifestyle as well, to make sure that you can put it on first thing in the morning, and then there's a nice warm meal there in the evening. Again, another very simple tip is to only boil the water in the kettle for the drinks that you need to make. By doing this can save you another £6 a year, so adds to the other savings. And another no cost tip is to contact your fuel supplier and request a smart meter and in-home display, because by having a smart meter installed at no extra cost to yourself, you can have the information on the in-home display. It can help identify potential wastage of electricity and your energy use, and we'll come on to smart meters in a bit more detail in a bit. I can have the next lot of low cost savers up, please. Really useful, again, is making sure that even if you're not able to get insulation for free, that it could be quite low cost, and there might be discounts available to you in your area, depending on your local authority or personal circumstances. But just by making sure that your loft insulation is fully installed to the correct depth, that can save you about £165 a year on your fuel bills, depending on your usage and your housing house size. If you look at getting your hot water cylinder jacket put on, that can save you another £20, and you can usually purchase them as well as the reflective foil panels for behind radiators from DIY stores. If you look at getting thermostatic radiator valves, which is the TRVs there on the list, if you look at getting them installed, it's a brilliant way. They only cost about approximately £15 each, and through a handyman service you could get them installed. It means that you can control the heat around your home, and perhaps in rooms that you're not using as much, reduce the heat but keep a low heat so that you don't have any damp and condensation problems. So just some ways of looking and seeing if we can do anything for free or low cost without spending out, and small savings that will add up. If we can move on to the next slide, please, Ellie. So looking at smart meters as one of the no-cost actions that you can take. Smart meters are the new generation of meters, and the smart meter rollout is happening across Great Britain between now and 2024. Everyone is being offered one by their supplier, and suppliers are rolling out smart meters to customers at different times at no extra cost to customers that would like one. Although when you might receive it can depend on if it's available for the type of home that you're living in and the age of your existing meter. The benefits of smart meters are that they show you how much energy you are using in pounds and pence, which is a lot simpler than looking at the old traditional meters with kilowatt hour measurements on. And a smart meter can help you identify situations where you might be using a lot of energy and you might want to make changes to this. If you use the information on your in-home display to reduce your energy use, you could cut costs and become more energy efficient across the home. As a charity, we've always been supportive of the rollout because we think it will provide real benefits to customers in being able to understand their energy use. If people can make small reductions in some areas, that means they can save some money and be able to perhaps put that towards the extra heating costs that they might need. We know that the rollout needs to be coupled with proper education and support to help people understand smart meters and make sure that they can benefit from them. So please, at the end when we've got time for questions, please do ask if you have any queries. So we're going to move on to the next slide and look at some of the benefits that we can see from smart meters in the in-home display. A huge benefit is making sure that you will get accurate bills instead of estimated bills. A lot of people who perhaps only get billed every few months might not notice that they have been paying for estimated bills. There's just a small E next to their reading. And this estimated billing has meant that for years somebody could have been paying an inaccurate bill. So by making sure that you're paying for what you're actually using, it means that you can stay in better control of your energy use and your money. You can see how much gas and electricity you're using in pounds and pence, which is much easier to understand, and it'll help you identify if any fuel is being wasted around the home. A brilliant benefit is that you don't need to let strangers into the home to read your meter at all. Oh, excuse me. And also it means that you don't have to crawl into understairs cupboards to try and read your meter, or stand up on ladders to try and reach a meter that might be right near the top of a ceiling that could be difficult to access. It'll also mean good opportunities for flexible tariffs in the future. And also, if you do have any meter issues, it will mean quicker diagnosis by the energy companies, which will be of real benefit to people. So if we can move on to the next slide. We've identified that there are particular benefits, particularly to people who have prepayment meters. And we, as a charity, have really seen this in action throughout the pandemic. Smart meters, they can operate in both prepayment and credit mode. And smart meter prepayment meters means that people can see how much credit they've got left on their in-home display without having to go to the meter. The real benefit is we've seen people can top up more easily, perhaps by phone or online, as well as still using the traditional method of going to the local shop. But it means that people don't any longer need to top up on their card or their key, but they can do it remotely. it'll mean that people can access more competitive prepayment tariffs, and they can also switch between payment modes. For example, if people are on credit mode, they can between that and prepay without needing for an installer to visit the home. So a lot more flexibility in managing your fuel bills. And as I said, this has really been seen as such a positive by us through the pandemic, where people couldn't and felt very vulnerable if they had a health condition in leaving their homes. It was fantastic that they, if either themselves or through friend or family, could download an app onto their phone and pay for their meter to be credited through that, rather than risking going to the shop if they're in ill health. So that's a huge benefit. If we could just go on to the next slide, I just wanted to look at the in-home display. The picture that you can see on the slide is the in-home display, which often gets mistaken as named as the smart meter. But the smart meter replaces the old traditional meter in the same place, and it is the in-home display that you can have, that you are given, that is paired with the smart meter, that gives you some information that you can keep in your home. The information includes the energy used in the last hour, week and month, and its cost. It'll tell you if the electricity use is low, medium or high, and it updates in near real time for electricity, or every half an hour for gas. We can move on to the next slide. There's some slight differences with the in-home display for prepayment customers. They have the same information as a standard smart meter, but they also must show how much credit people have left. So that is of huge benefit to be able to see that within the home and know how much emergency credit is available as well. If people have got a debt, then it will show you the balance. And there's also an alert if the credit is low. In addition to this, there's been an accessible in-home display developed that is available for people and intended for use with anyone with dexterity issues, if they have a visual impairment, perception issues, or memory impairment as well. It has got audio and visual features, so it's intended to be easier to use for people, and can be requested from your fuel supplier if people would need one. The in-home display, just to mention, the in-home display is provided as a tool to help people understand their energy use. It is not intended to cause any concern at all, and I think helping people understand that, for example, if you put the kettle on to boil, the needle on the in-home display, it might shoot up to the red temporarily, because while the kettle is boiling, you're using a lot of electricity. But as soon as that's done, it will go back down. It will go back down again to normal. So it's not to be concerned or worried. It's there to inform people and understands their energy use. So if we can move on to the next slide, there's something called the Warm Home Discount Scheme, and this is offered by fuel suppliers in the form of a discount of £140 that is credited to people's electricity accounts. Energy suppliers are required to provide this financial support to fuel poor or vulnerable low-income households. And if you could just bring up the next part of the slide, please, and the next part is okay. Thank you. For the core group, this payment will be made automatically for anybody who's in receipt of pension credit. The fuel supply, if you are with your fuel supplier on a qualifying date and your name is on there or partners is on your bill, then you would be automatically credited with £140. You should receive a letter between October and December explaining how to get the discount, and customers will be told if they need to call a helpline to confirm any details. But if you're worried about it at all, whether or not you would qualify, then the telephone number I give you at the end, then we can help you with that. If we move on to the next slide, there's also a broader group within the Warm Home Discount Scheme, and this is managed by the suppliers themselves. So it's the same support that's available, £140 to be credited to electricity accounts, but each supplier has potentially discount. Each supplier has different qualifying criteria, but it is usually people that would be on a low income who are in receipt of certain means tested benefits. And the important thing to do, if we can get up the second part of the slide, please, Ellie. Thank you. The important thing to do is contact your if you believe that you might qualify, is contact your supplier as early as possible, because the number of discounts that suppliers can give are limited. So, I mean, don't worry if you may have missed this year. It will be renewed next year, but you do need to contact, if you're in the broader group, you do need to contact your supplier every year, and it should be credited to people's accounts by the end of March. So if we go on to the next slide, the winter fuel payment. This is for people who are born on or before the 26th of September 1955, and people get between £100 and £300. How much a person receives does depend on age and circumstances, and most people receive the winter fuel payment automatically if they get a state pension or another social security benefit. Most payments are made automatically for this, usually between November and December. So just something to be aware of and look out for. If we can move on to the next slide, this is the cold weather payment, which does happen less frequently, but is something to be aware of. If where you live has an average temperature in the local area below 0 degrees Celsius or below for 7 consecutive days during the colder months of the year, November and March, and you're in receipt of pension credit, income support or job seekers allowance, employment and support allowance, universal credit or support for mortgage interest, you would automatically so you have to have the temperature being low for over 7 days and be in receipt of the those benefits, then you would automatically get a payment of £25 for each 7-day period of very cold weather. So I'm not sure where you all live, but over the years of giving energy advice, I've come across a few people that have got this, and it tends to be when it is incredibly cold weather. That's something to be aware of, just in case. If we can move on to the next slide, this is some funding that is available through the local authorities. Some local authorities have got welfare assistance funds, but also this year there is a specific, as well as last year, there were specific support funds that were very well publicised as a result of the pandemic. For the local assistance awareness scheme, a number of local authorities have this, and they offer financial assistance to people that might be in need. It's either as a grant, a loan, or assistance in kind, and they may include direct help for gas and electricity costs, or things like food parcels. The way to access this is to contact your local authority directly. That's the same for the Household Support Fund. 500 million has been made available to support households this winter. This is to help households with the cost of food, heating, water, and other essentials. So it was available from October, and local authorities have set their own criteria. So do contact the local council for more details. Come on to the next slide. I spoke at the beginning about how the best way to reduce your energy costs and be more energy efficient is to make the home more energy efficient and keep the heat within your home. The energy company obligation is funding that households can get insulation, first-time central heating controls, new electric storage heaters, which will be more efficient, and non-gas boilers and renewable heat as well. You can apply directly to your energy supplier for these. Depending on your circumstances, the measures may be free or heavily discounted, but it's important to make sure that the insulation in your home is fully up to date, so that you can that will help reduce the amount of heat that you'll need to have on. If you reduce your bills and feel warmer, insulation really is the quickest, kind of most effective way to do that, as well as first-time central heating being offered as well. So again, that's to contact your energy supplier to get help for that. If we can move on to the next slide. If people are worried about their fuel bills and falling into debt, there are some steps that you can take to avoid this. As I said, make sure that you improve the energy efficiency of your home. Check that you are claiming all of the benefits that you're entitled to by making sure that you've had a recent benefit entitlement check. If you are unable to pay your bill, contact your supplier and let them know. They may also have some debt relief funding and be able to put you on a different payment plan. If you make sure that you provide your supplier with a monthly meter reading to ensure that you receive an accurate bill, or request a smart meter which will send your meter readings automatically. By making sure that your fuel supplier has got up-to-date information about your energy use, then you will be billed accurately. I've included the telephone number on there for the Citizens Advice Debt Helpline. They're one of the organisations who can give you free advice for all types of debt and money guidance. There's a link there to other sources of support and advice if you're worried about bills and falling into debt, that Smart Energy GB has put together. So if we move on to the next slide, the Priority Service Register is sometimes one of the best kept secrets within the energy industry, and it's very incredibly useful to the people who use it. All energy suppliers and distribution network companies provide this non-financial support for customers who need it. It's available for people who are of pensionable age or those with a disability or long-term illness, people who may be blind or visually impaired, or the deaf and hearing impairment. Any energy customers in a vulnerable situation may benefit from the priority service register. It doesn't need to be a permanent vulnerable situation. For example, if somebody has returned from hospital, then they can be on the priority service register while they recuperate. So it's just something to be aware of. If we could just bring up the next part of the slide, thank you. The services that are offered then by the fuel supplier can be relocation of meters. They can also provide your bills in different formats, including talking bills and large print and braille. They can give you use of a password if you were to have anybody from your fuel supplier call round. And also they may provide special controls, adapters, and provide an annual gas safety check. The real benefit of being on the priority service register is if there is going to be an emergency, a fuel shortage, such as we've seen with the recent storms, or if there is planned work, then if they have got your telephone number and your contact details, the fuel supplier will get in touch, or distribution network will get in touch with you first to let you know. For if they know that you need particular equipment that relies on electricity, then they will provide you with a generator to make sure that that you continue to be to have your health equipment working correctly. And if there's any planned works, they will get in touch with you to let you know earlier about that. Contact your fuel supplier to find out more about the priority service register and sign up to that. And on to my final slide. And if all of that was a lot to take in, there is financial help available. There is help for home energy efficiency measures as well. But this is the one telephone number where you can get all of that advice. It's the Warm and Safe Homes Advice Service run by NEA, and we give free impartial advice to households in England and Wales, and we can give advice on energy and also benefit entitlement checks as well. We can help register people for priority service register. We can apply for the £100 warm home discount with your fuel supplier. We can give energy efficiency advice, make applications for grants and trust funds if needed to help with energy debt. We can apply for that for you. We also can negotiate tariffs and payments with energy and water suppliers. Sometimes it's easier for us to gather all your information in and have a look at understanding your fuel bills before giving them a call. We can give benefits advice, which includes entitlement checks and claim support. And we can also make applications for emergency hardship funding. Eligibility criteria does apply here, and different funding is available at different times, so we can't be specific about that, but it's as if there's something available, an advisor will make you aware of it. There's a link there so that you can put a refer, you can refer yourselves or someone that you that you are worried about, that you or you can phone the 0800 number and come through to somebody to be able to help. And I think that takes us on to our last slide. I did see some questions pop up in the chat, but thank you very much for listening. I know that was a lot of information to take on. There is help available, but if you come through to the 0800 number on the WASH service, then we will be able to help you with all the different elements of trying to get your home well insulated and try and reduce your fuel bills. But there are some low cost to no cost tips as well, and actions that you can do to try and reduce your bills as well.